Hey, it's Todd with Defense and Safety. I've been playing with a few new knives and looking at some old knives, and I thought I'd do a Benchmade Axis lock knife review. Um, I have all of my knives out here that are Benchmades with Axis. I have two other ones that are liner lock, but I really like the Axis lock. I really like uh, Benchmade putting them on so many knives. I know there's some people who maybe don't care for them that much, but and one of the biggest complaints is that because there's an omega spring on each side. So basically, the way this works, if you don't know, is you pull this back, and an omega spring is shaped like the letter omega, right? So it kind of goes up and around, and these springs are attached here, and there's one on each side. And as it opens, it comes across the knife steps down here, and this comes across the top, preventing the knife from folding back forward. And then there's a stop pin here holding the knife at this point. And I find I've been really studying the locking mechanism and how it works, and it's a very, very strong knife locking system, and it's very reliable. And as you can see here, I have 2, 4, 6, 8 knives. Some of them very old, some of them brand new, and out of all of these, and probably tens of thousands of flicking them combined, open and closed, I've only had one omega spring fail, and that's on this knife here. The right side is still intact, but the left one feels broken to me. And the knife still works, it still locks, it just, you can tell that something on this side pushes. So even when it fails, because there's two in there, it still works. You could still carry and use this knife and not worry, because it's not going to slip out. So, and Benchmade's great about fixing these. I just got to contact them. So I really like the Axis lock. I wasn't like in love with it, but over time it's really grown on me. So I thought I'd show you some of the knives that I really like that have the Axis lock. As I started to show over here, this is the 806. So this is the newer model that you can get, or used to be able to get at KnifeWorks. It was a limited edition of 400 in the M390 steel, and has the blue G10. It's smooth. And here I bought on eBay an older version with the oval in D2. Now this was a black blade that somebody stripped and didn't do a great job on, but the knife from a function standpoint works great. It's sharp. It's a great knife because you've got this great choil here. You've got good jimping up here. I really like this knife design and blade design. It's a good handle. You've got tip up, tip down, left, right, carry on. Both of these. Some of the older models were had liner locks. The original were tip down only, and so I like these. The other two that I like a lot is this Contago 810, which is an Osborne design blade. Again, what's great about these is that you don't have any locking mechanism here, like a liner lock or frame lock. So your hand cannot in any way affect the lock. The lock is kind of in between your hand. So it's a very reliable locking system. And I liked this design so much when I got it that I actually got the this other one, the 950 Rift, which is in 154 cm. This was in M4, and this is in 154. And I carry this a lot. This is one of my heavy rotation EDC knives. It's just a great blade shape and great size. I really like this knife a lot. The other one that, if you've seen any of my videos, if it's not a direct review of it, it almost always comes up in it, and that's the 710, which is a McHenry Williams design, and this is it. This is the original one, or the one that I've owned the longest in D2, and I love this blade. This is in my top 5. It will always be in my top 5. I say if you only own one Benchmade, I would recommend owning this. It is a large knife, but the size and form factor make it feel like a small knife. Now I have a new one that I just got this week. It's the same knife, but this is in M390 steel. This is a BladeWorks exclusive. You can get them there, and with the discount and everything, they're almost the same price as the D2 one. So I really like this knife. Again, I had to have it in M390. I kept wanting to buy it, and I never did. And I just was like, "Am I crazy? I gotta own that knife." The other thing I hear a lot of people say is that on the lockup, that these knives will you have a little wiggle, and people complain about that. But all you got to do is tighten that pivot. The other thing I would say, the difference between these two is this has a rounded blade spine, the M390, so it's a little smoother, a little more finished look, as you can see. Still the same blade thickness. It's just it's rounded on the top. So when you look at these, the tang or whatever at the back of the blade, they're the same thickness. It's just a little rounded. Then another new knife that I just got was the 943. I love this. This is also an Osborne design. So you have this kind of reverse tanto, and then this really elegant, almost stiletto-looking blade. It's an aluminum handle, and it's got this beautiful titanium backspacer that you can see on both sides. You can see on the inside here and on the back side. I've been playing with this all weekend. I've had this in my pocket. It just fires out, as do all of these. And the reason for that is the way the tension works. This actually acts as the stop pin when the knife closes. And as it opens, it has to push against it. But once it gets, on all these knives, to about here, there's no pressure on this blade. It's once it's past that, the smoothness is really unrivaled for a locking mechanism. It's just smooth. There's just it's just a little bit of pressure there, and then it's just smooth. And so when you go to flip open an axis lock, that's why they look like they fire open so easily, because of the little bit of resistance, and then they're just so smooth opening that no matter what size, they just fly open, no matter what methodology you use, whether it's a Spidey or and then the other thing that they do well is that you can just squeeze the lock in and close it, and squeeze the lock and open it. So that's and then another one that I've had for a while is the sequel, which is I think it's the 707, and that's a 154 cm blade, and this is a McHenry Williams design as well. And I like this knife because it's easy to carry, it's small, it's kind of a gentleman's folder, but I think this is going to get more carry time. It's a little bit bigger, and this is in S30V, which really doesn't make that big of a difference. It's more the blade shape and design, but they're just beautiful knives. I really do love these Spydercos, especially if you look at all of these, with the exception of these two. These are either McHenry Williams or Osborne design collaborations or designs in general, and I really like those designs. I forget the guy that originally designed these, but they were for he wanted to make this more tactical knife. Now they have this same knife. This is the 806. The 805 has thumb studs, so that's the main difference. I don't own one of those. I want to own one. I just have never bought one. So the other thing that I'm starting to get away from are the black blades. I wish I would have got this in clear, and I guess I wish I would have got this in the satin finish as well. I mean, it is discreet when it's little and black like that. It's nice, but just I don't know. For a while, I really liked black blades, and now I'm starting to really like and appreciate the uncoated versions. But again, I think these are really strong locks. I think you can trust them. I've had no problem with side-to-side blade play. Now, I will admit, if I flick them open and carry them for a few days, the pivot will loosen a little, and then I will get a little wiggle side to side, and they'll fly out. I mean, they'll really come out fast. But none of these have any blade play, and you can see they all open very quickly. And if you know, I just use a T10, and that'll tighten them up every time. And let me just look at one like here. Let me think of one that's, this one will come loose sometimes. And again, you just have to give it barely that much turn. It still fires out, and it's rock solid. So I think, you know, for a lock design, this is definitely one of the best. There's no chance of the lock face and the lock bar, like either on a liner lock or frame lock, of them kind of having early lockup and disengaging, you know, and or getting lock rock. I've never seen that either. And again, I've opened and closed and used these knives a lot. So from a lock type, I think it's much more reliable and consistent in its lockup. It doesn't wear in. There's not any wear here where this, I don't know if you can even see where it comes over that shelf. It's like the blade, the back of this blade right here, you can see comes down, and then it's just steps at a slight angle down, so that this actually rolls over it and kind of wedges. And so there's no way that there can be up and down movement, because you've got a stop pin here, and you've got this on top of this shelf. You know, it's going like this, and it just really gives you solid lockup. So I know there's some people who get nervous about the Omega springs breaking, but again, here's 8 knives. 2 of them are relatively new. All of them have been flicked open in the hundreds of times, all of them, and most in the thousands, and only this one, and I haven't even opened it up. Maybe the Omega spring came loose, but I'm pretty sure it broke. But again, the knife still locks, still works. I think the chances that both springs would break at the same time are, you know, again, the odds just doubled that would happen. So I'm not really, again, that worried about it. And as I said, I haven't had any issues, and I really, really love the ease and smoothness of the lock. It really allows for just a very, this is a little tighter, very smooth, easy to open knife, and also easy to close. And it's very lefty friendly, as you've noticed. All these knives typically have at least left and right tip up carry, with the exception of these two that you can do tip down as well. So for left and right hand, there's no difference. You're not adapting to this knife at all. It's an easy to use for left and right handed, and a lot of people that are right handed still carry a knife on their left side, either for you know, working with weapon retention. If they're carrying a gun on their strong hand, they want to carry a knife on their weak side, so that if they're protecting that weapon, they're able to use their other hand to grab a weapon to cut the person off. So again, if you are a right-handed person, this is a great left-handed option for weak side carry. All right, well, this has just been my thoughts on the Benchmade Axis lock, and I just wanted to, I guess, show off some of the blades that I own. I'm really, really, really excited about my 2 newer ones. Always the new ones get the most pocket time, but this is really beautiful. I mean, if you're going to own a 710, get the M390. It's got the rounded spine. It's just a little bit nicer finish, and then I'm really digging this for kind of more of a gentleman's folder. You know, if you're wearing, and it's very light. All these knives are light, but this is extremely light compared to some of these other ones, which are obviously much bigger. All right, well, I was kind of rambling there, but thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.